Welcome to another episode of Mortgage Matters, every Wednesday with Team Adwar. Here's your host, Todd Adwar. All right. How are we
Hey,
doing? Good morning.
we're
Good
doing great.
morning.
We're doing great, Tim. How are you?
Doing very well. Thank you. Good to be back.
Well, welcome
It's our
everybody
second
to
episode.
welcome everybody to Mortgage Matters, Adwar team. Today we have a great episode. We're going to be talking about commercial real estate and commercial finance, and it's going to be very, very interesting. We have two wonderful speakers joining us: Dennis Goodhart, commercial realtor extraordinaire, and Tracy Bonilla, an absolute financing powerhouse. I mean, they do great deals and they're really terrific. Very, very knowledgeable in their business. But before we bring them on, I wanted to give what we always do, which is a real estate update. First of all, the rates this week, 30-year fixed rates are down to 7.07 nationwide average. 15 years are 6.62. Jumbos are 7.37 at this point. Something interesting that came out is the amount of listings year over year. So May 31st, 2024 versus May 31st, 2023, there are some states, especially the Southeast, where there are significantly more listings than there were, say, a year ago. And I'll give you an example. Florida has 70% more listings now than in 23. Georgia, 49%, South Carolina, 47%, and 41% in North Carolina. You get to the West Coast and you got Washington State, 52% more, California, 38% more, and then Texas, 42% more. What does that mean? It means sellers, you may be lowering your prices. So if you're thinking about selling your house, you better get those homes listed before the summer season ends. A lot of the Northeast migration out of the Northeast to the Southeast has slowed down. There's still a tremendous amount of building going on in the Southeast, in Texas. So that's definitely going to add to listings out there. Again, states like New York, there's only 2% more listings, but we'll keep an eye on that year over year. So it's still a really tight market. There's only two states that are negative, less listings this year, and that is South Dakota and Nevada. So all the other states in the country, there are more listings. Let's bring on our guest, Tim.
It's good to see that the numbers are starting to normalize back to our regular scheduled listings. So that's good. First person we're bringing up is Dennis and then Tracy. Very good. So I guess you want to have them introduce themselves, or do you have a special intro for them?
No, yeah, I'll introduce them. So Dennis Goodhart is with Grand Lux Realty Commercial. He's been in the realty game since he was a teenager, which is what, last week you started, Dennis, and done so many deals, both residential and commercial. But he is the commercial guru of New York State Realty. And then we have Tracy Bonilla, and she's been doing commercial financing. I don't want to give away your age, Tracy. That wouldn't be nice. But for more than a week, we'll say. And she has just so many wonderful deals, whether it's new construction, whether it's land, whether it's strip malls, whether it's shopping malls, whatever you could think of, Tracy has been involved in at some point. So let's get started. We'll start with Dennis. And Dennis, why don't you tell us really how long you've been in the commercial real estate game?
Good morning, everybody, and thank you for having me on the show today. Yes, I did start real estate when I was a teen, in my last year of high school, and I worked as a residential broker not a broker, I'm sorry, a residential salesperson in agency in Flushing, Queens. And then from there, I went to work for a wholesale broker who was, at that time, there was a big paper company was selling off their properties around the country. And he was a wholesale broker, and we took the land and sold unimproved lots to people in the Poconos and in various regions around the state for vacation homes. And
so Dennis, what would you say the mood is for commercial properties? Because it's quite different than it was pre-pandemic.
So commercial property is interesting. When you say commercial property, it is such a large and vast array of different protocols within real estate. I like to say that commercial property is anything that is designed to make a profit. And so, that can go from building something from the ground up, from taking something that you have and expanding it and making it into a rental property, to taking something that's existing, like a shopping center, an industrial building, repurposing it, reusing it, and making it into something else. So unlike, I guess, residential, where there tends to be a trend with residential where the market is up or the market is down, commercial, there's, again, so many aspects of it that they each, I think, have their own or develop their own cycles. So
are there some markets, some commercial markets that are stronger than others right now as far as sectors are concerned?
Yeah. So right now, and this is maybe where there might be a parallel to residential housing. As you know, there is a shortage of housing, not only in this country, but all over the world. And there is specifically or particularly a shortage of affordable housing. So the affordable multifamily sector is very, very hot right now. And we are involved with developing a couple of these projects. We're working with faith-based groups to help them take a lot of churches have a lot of property, and they don't need all that property. They can turn that property into multifamily housing, which helps them to continue to serve the areas that they're in, helps them to with their missions to be community-based. And so we're working on projects like that. For example, right now we're going to be building 100 units in Indianapolis, and we're looking and hopefully to expand that to 200 units. We're going to be building a affordable housing building in Yonkers. That's probably going to be about 75 units. So those are just two immediate projects that we're working on.
Are there any areas of the country commercially that you think are stronger than others? I know that the San Francisco market's getting a lot of bad play out there for discounts on properties.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into the various politics of different places, but the political policies do affect development in various areas. For the affordable housing market, you're looking more at metro areas where there's accessibility to transportation, easy accessibility to transportation. Some of the areas that we are looking at, we're building in, while they may have the transportation, they don't have the commercial hub around them. So one of the things that we look to do when we build housing is also to build community development. So that we may put in a supermarket if there's a food desert. We may add community space. But to get back to the specific question you asked, I think right now any metropolitan area is really desperate for housing, and especially for affordable housing. And I don't think it matters where in the country.
So when you get a call from a new client who says, "Hey, I have a lot of money that was just left to me by grandma, and I want to invest in commercial real estate," what's your recommendation going to be, Dennis?
So that's a good question. It's an interesting question. It really depends on what the individual is looking for. You have not a lot, but there's a significant number of people that have 1031s. They are taking money and they want to defer the tax on it. So they're looking for investments where they can use that tax deferment to continue to be invested in real estate and at the same time not have to pay the taxes on it. So a shopping center might be a good investment for them, or maybe some type of portfolio where the portfolio has a number of different commercial investments and kind of almost like a mutual fund for investments. There are people that just have, let's say, not a lot of money, but they want to invest in real estate. So something like a 4 or 5, 6 family house might be a good investment for them.
Okay. Have you participated in any recent deals besides the ones that you mentioned in Indianapolis and in Yonkers?
So interestingly enough, we are in the process of, we're very close to closing on a building in an office building in Manhattan.
Oh, very interesting.
What we call a Class B building. And the interesting thing about this is that the Class B realty market in New York City is dead. Most Class B owners, a lot of Class B owners, if they're not 100% rented, they are literally giving the keys back to the bank and saying, okay, you own the building now, because there's no way they can pay the mortgages on it. This particular building,
I'm sure Tracy's going to talk about that when we get to her in a minute.
This particular building was attractive for a couple of reasons. One, it is right in Midtown. Number two, it's an iconic building in Manhattan. It's about 30% rented, but it has a 4.75% assumable mortgage.
Oh, okay. So.
And this was very interesting to the client. There are certain parameters with the mortgage. The client has to personally back the mortgage. They have to have $50 million in assets that the bank can look at and say, okay, we'll approve you to take over the mortgage. And they also some of the space that's vacant right now is the ground floor, which was a restaurant. So it's good retail space for them. And the basement, it was a restaurant, so the basement is already outfitted for a restaurant. So
sounds like a great deal. Okay, Tracy, that's a perfect lead-in for you.
Segue?
Yeah, absolutely. So why don't you tell everybody how long you've been in the commercial?
You're getting me to answer the question. That's okay. It's 28 years in corporate banking and lending. It's been an interesting ride. A lot of tumultuous up and downs, but I'm still here.
Well, apparently with the picture,
I don't know.
You're fading away, Tracy. Come back.
I don't
move
know.
towards the light. Move towards the light.
Okay.
So how would you describe the mood of commercial lending right now? I know there's a tremendous amount of deals coming your way right now.
There are, but I think the commercial lending sector in 2024 is poised for significant transformation, driven by technology advancements, shaped by economic and regulatory environments. I want to lower my phone a little bit. Sorry. And the changes present both challenges and opportunities, right, for lenders and borrowers alike. The future of interest rates is uncertain with the current economy, and I think that is what we're having so many issues with.
Okay, and any interesting deals that you've been working on or that you've closed in the last 5-6 months? We're already midway through 24.
Yeah, Todd, they're all interesting. That's why I've been in this business for 28 years.
Well, give our fans one.
I guess my most notable one recently was we closed a very large deal for a developer building out warehouse space for a social media platform. We were able to provide 110% financing for the construction, with rates in the high fives. It was probably the most incredible deal that I have put out in at least the last 20 years. So I'm proud of that one.
Interesting. So when I come to you and I want to buy, a mixed use property, or I want to buy an office building, or I want to buy, a local strip center, with a Dunkin' Donuts in it and, cleaners and, the local barber. What do I have to know about down payment? What do I have to know in order to really, think about, can I do this?
Right. Well, down payments are all based on asset tapes, but banks have peeled back on their LTVs due to the uncertainty with the interest rates and the market being volatile as it is. Staff at banks have been cut back due to lack of business, and you're working with a smaller workforce.
Right.
I'm proud to say that cross country. That's you, Todd, right? Commercial Consultants Network in 2023 closed more loans than most smaller commercial banks. So we really try to work with everybody. Leverage is a thing, but you should really keep in your mind that you have to have that, 20 to 35% to get into this space.
Right. And you're saying that's the same on all properties. It's 20 to 25%.
It's not the same on all properties. And that's why I said it's asset dependent. But in your mind, you should have that at least in savings to kind of get anywhere you want to go.
So I was taught that, I was taught that when everybody's running out, it's time for you to run in.
Yes.
So there's a lot of tremendous opportunities.
Absolutely.
Tell me how we could get cash out of some, our commercial owners can get cash out to buy new properties. What can they do to use their current properties to leverage new ones?
Well, I think this is a critical question, right? Because it's critical that owners and operators and investors across the commercial real estate optimize their cash so they can capitalize on all these opportunities that are going to arise, right? And some people don't even know where their property is evaluated at this point in time, with interest rates, of course, tripling, right, from where we were or where they might have started for 6-7 years ago, in the threes.
Right. And are you seeing a lot of clients who had mortgages coming due that they don't know what to do? So how do they get in touch with you to talk about options, before they have the gun to their head when they're expiring? What should they be doing?
The challenges I've been facing lately is that people's loans are predominantly maturing in the commercial space towards the last 2 months of this year.
Okay.
And so people are waiting for election year, thinking there's going to be a really big drop as soon as this happens. And they kind of don't want to let go of what they have. So it's been a little bit of challenge saying, okay, look, it is a substantial increase from what you had, but better to lock in when you're certain now, because you're still uncertain when it's going to come due, and it's going to cost you some hefty fees to extend. SBAs, Todd, you do a lot of, and I want to talk about that because that's still providing.
It's such a topic that everybody loves to hear. Everybody got the free money and during COVID, and when you mention SBA, everybody's ears perk up. So go for it, Tracy.
Yeah, so SBL is still providing the highest leverage for owner-occupied businesses which are looking to expand, ground up development. We've been very aggressive with on leverage here. These are the things that we should be focusing on, right? It would be cash up. If I have to sum this all up, it would be cash optimization. Multifamily is strong. Interest rates price out would-be home buyers and sustaining multifamily demand.
Right.
Of course, affordable housing. The lack of affordable housing is one of the biggest problems facing the country right now, like Dennis said.
Yeah.
But there's innovative methods to increase the housing supply, including modular construction. But there's also a need to push for update zoning and tackle NIMBYism, right? So
That's funny
There's
that you
lots to be said about that.
Elon Musk jumping in with the modulars. You know, he's
Yeah.
going to build, 200-foot houses, tiny houses for everybody to.
It's a thing. People are wanting to buy, mobile home parks, and it's affordable.
Right.
Neighborhood retail success. Many see this as synonymous to Class B and C malls. E-commerce continues to grow, but it only makes up 15% of all the retail. Right. There's plenty of room for brick and mortar operations.
You just inherited, $2 million. What are you buying first? And where?
Multifamilies become a little challenge because depending on, I'm a person that's not paying what they're asking, right? So that's always a challenge. Listen, I think retail will emerge as a stalwart in 2024. This asset class is expected to experience a steady performance with unchanged vacancy rates and moderately positive rent growth for neighborhoods and community shopping centers. Like, I wouldn't rule that out. Okay. Office space will make a comeback at some point because corporate America isn't going anywhere, and at least for the next 10, 20 years.
Right.
Industrial has softened, but there's a positive outlook as foreign labor has become significantly increased over the last 2 decades. I don't really ever have a favorite type. I do like to stick with something that's a little bit more conservative, but that's me. But so there's a lot of opportunity. While you're
hammering them for price, you want it to be a conservative investment.
Yeah, well, I guess election year will be interesting, right?
Right. Okay. I want to thank both of you for joining us today.
Thank you, Todd, for having me. Really, I appreciate it. Pleasure meeting everyone.
Next week, folks, we are going to be talking to Michael O'Connor, who happens to be the foremost authority on reverse mortgages. And reverse mortgages have a negative stigma attached to them, but you couldn't be more wrong about it. We have 50% of the population with a tremendous, over the age of 62 homeowners that have a tremendous amount of equity. They don't need to have payments anymore. So it'll be a very interesting conversation. Like, share, and subscribe to this. We'd love to have you. And we look to better things in the future.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, guys, for having me.
Guys.
Thank you all. Have a great week, everybody.
Have a good day.
Great. Thank you.